This is Han Che, professor at the Busan National University School of Korean Medicine. Today, I would present on the traditional Korean medicine and its system for the education. The contents of this presentation is as follows. First, the introduction would be made, and the second, history of Korean medicine and its education. Third, educational system and educational institute. Fourth, current curriculum of Korean medicine. Fifth, evaluation and accreditation of Korean medicine educational institutes. Sixth, examination for National Korean Medicine License. Seventh, continuous medical education for Korean medicine. Eighth, clinical specialist program in 8 fields. Ninth, education for integrated medicine of Korean and Western medicine. Because we don't have much time for the explanation, forgive me if some explanation on specific topics is a little bit not satisfactory. I would go on. First, Korean medicine and Korean medicine doctors. What is special or what is the strong point of Korean medicine? First, Sasang medicine, which is a temperament-based personalized medicine. Second, Saham acupuncture, which is based on 5-phase theory. Third, biopsychosocial perspective of medicine is emphasized. Fourth, we have experience of the development of traditional medicine and integration of Western medicine and traditional medicine in scientific ways. The Korean medicine plays a pivotal role in Korean public health and has established strong educational system and professional status equivalent to the Western medicine. The number of Korean medicine doctors was 25,000 and took 8% of the national health insurance. I would explain about the history of Korean medicine as for the educational system. From this slide, I would explain on the right side with yellow. The history of Korean medicine education. Until 1894, the Bureau of Royal Medicine, 전의감, was government body established by the rules for 6th Bureau and had a duty for the education of medical professions and medical service for royal family. 1894 was both an end to sovereign tradition of Korean medicine and also a start of Korean personalized medicine with Jemary's Sasang typology. The Dongjae Medical School, the first modern TRM educational institute of Korea, was established by Emperor Gojong as a first public TRM education. However, it was terminated along with his forced resignation, and TRM education and medical service were performed in private sector for 100 years. Dark years of traditional medicine has been sustained until the end of Japanese occupation at 1945. The Medicine for Citizen Act provided foundation for higher education of Korean medicine, a Korean-style TRM. The Dongyang Daehakwan was the first private educational institute, and its descendant, Dongyang Medical College, with 4-year curriculum was merged to College of Oriental Medicine, Kyunghee University, to be a modernized university, teaching Korean medicine with 6-year curriculum. Modernized TRM universities has instructor-led lecture on clinical knowledge, subject-specific classes, and clinical education in big hospitals with disease-specified departments. The knowledges on biomedicine and Western medicine clinical skills were also included to support the clinical practice of Korean medicine. The socio-economic developments in Korea had stimulated the public interest on TRM and its typical medical services. And the Korean medicine got to claim its position in public healthcare sector. The number of colleges of Korean traditional medicine was only 5 until 1982, and additional 6 were founded in just 5 years. The dramatic quantitative expansion of TRM education was also existed during these days. The dispute on medical herbs was a historical event for identifying Korean TRM as nationally recognized public healthcare modalities. The Korean Institute of Oriental Medicine was nationally established research facility and Bureau of Traditional Korean Medicine, Ministry of Health and Welfare as government agency, and public health care doctor system with TRM doctors as nationally operated service for rural area were established from these history events. The School of Korean Medicine, Busan National University, invited 2 Korean medicine doctors, including myself, as faculty when firstly established. This was the succession of Dongjae Medical School and restoration of nationally recognized public TRM sectors. The TRM education tried dramatic and experimental upgrade in Busan National University by introducing block lecture system, integrated lecture of basic and clinical courses, modulated clinical practice, clinical symptom study course, integrating diverse clinical specialties, PBL, OSCE, CPX, clinical skill test, training and testing with standardized patients, student-directed field trip, CBT system, and others. The TRM education of Korea is actively incorporating e-learning to deal with COVID-19 pandemic situation. This slide summarizes what I have explained in here. So you can see and look around how it has developed in one slide. The educational system and 12 educational institutes are as follows. If you want to be a Korean medicine doctor, there are 3 ways. The first one was installed in 1965. If you are a high school graduate, you should get the CSAT score and you should administer to 11 colleges to finish 6 years to get a bachelor's degree. The second one was installed in 2008. by Busan National University. The one with bachelor's degree should have KIT score to enter the school and finish 4 years of education to get a master's degree. The final one was installed in 2015 in Busan National University. The high school graduate with the CSAT score would finish 7 years course to be a traditional medical doctor. Here is the current educational system for Korean medicine. On the top, if you are a high school graduate, you should have a CSAT score. Then you should go to the left side. You should go to the pre-med and medical school in 11 colleges of Korean medicine school. Or you can choose to go other universities. And after the graduation, you should have KIT score and go to the middle school of Korean medicine. And you finish the 4-year course, and then you can be a doctor of Korean medicine. The third one, the third course, you can go to the middle one. You should go to the pre-med, and after that, you would finish medical school 4 years. And then after all this educational track, you would go to the national licensing examination to be a doctor of Korean medicine. After that, you have 2 tracks as a clinician. On the right side, you can be a general practitioner, or you can go to the left side, clinical specialist. You should have internship and residency to get a specialty certification examination. Anyhow, if you are a doctor of Korean medicine, you should get 8 points a year as for the continuing medical education. However, if you want to be a researcher on specific topics, you can go to the master's degree or doctorate degree course. In 12 universities, there are educational tracks for the traditional Korean medicine doctors. So if you are a student of Korean Kyunghee University, then you can understand what is going on there. The Kyunghee University was established in 1965, and currently it has 94 faculties and 108 students. As for the students, they should finish 258 credits or 423 hours to be a Korean medicine doctor. The Kyunghee University also have 174 master's degree students and 123 PhD students. And as for the clinical specialist training program, the Kyunghee University has affiliated hospitals with 80 and 40 trainee with 9 and 8 programs. As a total, there are roughly 500 faculties and 756 students. And as for the master's degree, 371 and 343 PhD students in 2019. As for the clinical specialist trainee, there are 363 clinicians. As for the current curriculum of Korean medicine, we can go with the characteristics of Korean medicine curriculum. It can be summarized as follows. First, treasured mirror of Eastern medicine is the mainframe of Korean TRM, and all the curriculums emphasize on delivering its context and contents. Second, long history of emphasis on essence and biopsychological individual differences made distinctive features of Korean medicine, including Sasang typology as personalized medicine, and well-being or life nurturing, focusing on maintaining one's essence for longevity. Third, Korean medicine has preserved its TRM originality comparatively well for the reason that combining with Western medicine modalities are forbidden until these days. 4,600 students are currently enrolled, and total number of faculties are 536 as of 2013. The number of students per one professor in Busan National University is 4.4, and that of Gyeonggi University is 6.1. The Busan National University representing second and third track to be a Korean medicine doctor, and the Gyeonggi University represent the first track. The total hours required for the graduation of TRM and Western medicine is really similar. The School of Korean Medicine, Western medicine, and dental medicine, as for the second track, they should finish 4,800 hours of curriculum. And as for the College of Korean Medicine, Gyeonggi University has 6,000 hours of curriculum. And I would use 7 groups of curriculum for the comparison. You can compare the curriculum, educational curriculum with Western medicine and dental medicine. So the basic medicine and theory, biomedicine only in TRM, clinical knowledge and theory, humanities and social medicine, clinical observation and apprenticeship, elective courses and research training courses would be there. So this is the educational curriculum for the School of Korean Medicine with 4-year curriculum. From here, 1.1-1 is first year, and 4-1 and 2 is the last year for the education. You can see from here that biomedicine and basic knowledge and theory is almost 70% of all the education. However, at the 4-1 and 4-2, you can find that practical training and observation is the majority. The basic TRM courses are history of medicine, physiology, pathology, Shanghanrun, diagnostics, preventive medicine, medical qigong, medicinal herbs, prescription, meridian acupuncture, medical law and ethics, medical statistics, medical terminology, medical classics, and others with classroom lecture, laboratory practice, and field trips. The Western medicine courses for TRM includes medical terminology, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, microbiology, anatomy, histology, pharmacology, diagnostics, clinical pathology, radiology, emergency medicine, and others. There are elective courses covering diverse interests such as pharmacopuncture, Buyang theory, Hyeongsang medicine, MPS, taping, and others. As for the professor, I'm doing lectures on medical terminology, medical statistics, and physiology, and others. The clinical courses for Korean medicine are internal medicine, OBGY, pediatrics, ENT, dermatology, neuropsychiatry, acupuncture and moxa, rehab, sasang typology, and others. After the classroom lectures on clinical knowledges, the students are transferred to affiliated hospitals with outpatient and inpatients as a clinical apprenticeship. After the graduation of college and acquisition of the KM license, affiliated hospitals also provide clinical specialist training programs for trainees of internship and residency. In this slide, you can directly compare the curriculums of traditional medicine, Western medicine, and dentistry. There are 4 figures, and on the upper one, the left one is 4-year curriculum, and the right one is 6-year curriculum. And the lower side, the left one is Western medicine, and the right one is dentistry. You can find the similarity really well. The evaluation and accreditation on teaching university is as follows. The Institute of Korean Medicine Education and Evaluation, aka ICME, was founded as a non-profit organization in 2005 to guarantee the nationally standardized educational system for Korean medicine and recognized by the Ministry of Health and Welfare based on the Article 32 of Civil Code. Only the graduates of educational institutes accredited by the ICME would be qualified to take the national licensing exam after 2017. During the first cycle, 12 universities have accredited. Currently, second cycle is in progress with 24 items. In second cycle, there is a bit of changes. Like length of full accreditation is increased and the conditional accreditation is newly introduced. Here is the categories of ICME decision at second cycle. You can get 6-year full accreditation when all the requirements are satisfied and it maintains 6 years. However, if you are not accredited, that means you failed to be approved consecutively for 2 times. So in that case, you are banned for re-evaluation for 2 years. The evaluation and accreditation system in TRM and Western medicine would be presented. As for the TRM, in Korea, the ICME and national licensing exam is provided by Ministry of Health and Welfare, Ministry of Education, and Higher Education Act of Korea. However, in United States, the TRM has no government or by law. It is evaluated and accredited by ACAOM and NCCAOM. In Western medicine, as for the Korea, the KIMEE, KIMEE was founded in 2003 by the government and by law. In US, you can find LCME, and in Europe, ENQA is the one. If you want to get the National Korean Medicine license, you should get the test. The licenses of medical professions in Korea should be acquired by passing one of 34 programs from the National License Exam under the administration of the National Health Personnel Licensing Examination Board. The NLE for Korean medicine doctor is a written test with 340 multiple choice items from 11 subjects. NLE for the Western medicine doctor is composed of clinical skills test and written test. As for the dentist, clinical skill test and written test is provided. The computer-aided test would be used for Western medicine, Korean medicine, and dentist soon. The pass rate of Korean medicine doctor, Western medicine doctor, and dentist are roughly more than 90% in 2015. And it is almost same these days. They would get licensed to open a private clinic as a general practitioner anywhere in Korea. This is the summary for the National Licensing Examination for Korean medicine doctors. 4 classes covers 11 subjects using 340 items of test. And 380 minutes would be allocated. There are continuous medical education for Korean medicine doctors. Since 1965, all Korean medicine doctors are subjected to the continuing medical education provided by Central Association, the Association of Korean Medicine, ACOM, which was implemented by the Medical Service Act and Enforcement Decree of the Medical Service Act. The number of Korean medicine doctors is 22,000 as of 2014, and they are working as general practitioner for primary health care, hospital doctor, and public health care doctor. The age of Korean medicine doctors are as follows. So you can find here that, oh, I made a mistake. 20s are 8% 3, 30s 36, 40s 30, over 50 is 25. It is evenly distributed. As for the clinical specialist program, the clinical specialist of Korean medicine is as follows. Korean medicine has clinical specialist program. Since 42 specialists were firstly accredited in 2002, 170 doctors are accredited every year to be 2,472 in 2014. Korean medicine has 2,472 clinical specialists in 8 fields provided by 47 TRM hospitals, and the Korean Western medicine has 82,000 clinical specialists in 26 fields trained by 269 hospitals as of 2014. You can compare with the Western medicine. The current number of clinical specialists in 8 specialty fields is as follows: internal medicine, acupuncture and moxa, rehab, OBGY, neuropsychiatry, ENT, and dermatology, Sasan constitutional medicine or Sasan typology, and pediatrics. If you want to be a clinical specialist of Korean medicine, 4 years of internship and residency program is needed. There are 8 specialty fields. You can find from the left side that the A is for the clinical specialist and the B is for all Korean medicine doctors. So 1 year of internship and 3 years of residency is required to get the specialty certification examination. After that, they are the clinical specialists in 8 specific fields. Here I show you 12 universities and their affiliated teaching hospitals. Second from the right, the affiliated hospitals and the beds are written, such as Kyunghee University has 2 affiliated hospitals with 187 and 78 beds, which provides a place for 80 and 40 trainees for 9 and 8 programs. This is an example training requirements for clinical specialist. If you want to be a clinical specialist of acupuncture and moxa, here is 3-year program. At first year, you should have records of 30 discharged inpatients for you. And as for the conference presentation, you should have 10 and 1 as for the hospital conference and academic conference. You should have 1 articles published. You can find first year, second year, third year in here. So the fully established educational system for Korean medicine is in this slide. If you want to nurture your traditional medicine system, you can use our system as a reference. And if you can try hard enough using this as a reference, then you would have your own traditional medicine educational system like this. As for the education for integrative medicine of Korean and Western medicine is like this. Actually, it is now developing so hard. The Korean medicine is the lone survivor from Japanese colonial period, Korean War, and harsh modernization. However, it has established well-organized professional healthcare service, public health, and educational system. The full restoration of Korean TRM as public health was completed in 2008, and the Korean medicine is growing so fast. The integration of TRM and Western medicine is just started. The TRM knows well of Western medicine. However, Western medicine knows a little of TRM. Novel ways of teaching is now under development. I would show you some examples for that. This one is a classical textbook for teaching 사상 typology. Hard to be understood, and it is so hard to explain to the generations currently enrolled as a student. So we find or we summarize the pathophysiology and treatment and acupuncture with English medical terms. For example, if you are a 태음 type, you are sociable, highly parasympathetic reactivity, and good digestion, high BMI is specific. And as for that, the HD4, LU9, LR3, and herbs with saponins with antitussive would be used. It is more easy and understandable for young generation of TRM and Western medicine doctors. And as for teaching in Yang, we improvised a curriculum using objective measure and characters. The 사상 Personality Questionnaire, or SPQ, is an objective biopsychological measure for yin-yang with 3 subscales of behavior, cognition, and emotion. Here are representative yin and yang animation or game characters. The yin is with lower SPQ score, and the yang is with higher SPQ scores. From the Pororo, the Little Penguin, which is a TV animation series from 2003, you can find the Luffy on the left side is a representative figure of yin, and the Patty on the right is representative figure for the yang. And as for the FPS video game, Overwatch, you can find the Mei as the yin person and the Tracer is yang person. All this educational curriculum or educational module is published in scientific article. So you can use or make this kind of new ways for educating traditional medical concept to the young generation or Western medicine doctors. Thank you. If you have any kind of question, you can contact me with email written in here. See you next time with other topics.